mean, this all you have to think of, because this is how I do it every day, on the backdrop of the realignment. And after 2024, the success of the failure of the Republican Party and the Trump administration was always going to hinge on whether or not Republicans could complete the realignment, because they haven't. And whether or not the party would take Donald Trump's lead and Donald Trump's successes would be sufficient enough to rebrand the Republican Party into him, his party, his vision, right? Which is built around this idea. And by the way, Tucker Carlson is right. It is the most popular idea perhaps ever to be presented to the American voter. And that is that whatever decisions or your government's going to make, or the issues that your government is trying to tackle, the primary question in their mind should be whether or not they're putting the interests of the American citizens, before the interests of the donor class or foreigners or whatever. What is your priority? And this is the number one thing that's going to hurt Republicans, knowing that. No matter if Trump pivots hardcore or not, guys, from some of the stuff we're about to show you, which is hurting him badly in the polls, and I'm going to show you this. No matter if he does, I don't see how that this benefits the Republican Party. The window for the Republicans to show what I just said to you, that they are not the party of Paul Ryan, of George Bush, of Mitt Romney, of oligarchs, of Wall Street, of big donors on K Street, of Israel, of Ukraine, of whatever. They are the party of the working American family. Their window to show the American people that that is true has closed. It's over. Thanksgiving will be soon. And after Thanksgiving, we'll get into Christmas. Everybody will be gone. We'll have the New Year celebration. When we come back from the New Year, there will be some key legislative things that they have to do, but most of Congress will be gone most of the year. They will be campaigning. They will be meeting with donors. And even when they are in D.C. playing legislature, because they're not really going to be there doing their actual jobs, even when they're there, they will not take on big, bold, aggressive, controversial agenda items. They don't do it. That's not how DC works. If Trump was able to get them to do it, he'd be the first one ever in history. He couldn't do it the first time either. Paul and Kevin rolled him. They did. They rolled him in his second year. They gaslit him. And he ran all over the country for them, trying to get their Senate candidates and some of their House candidates reelected. And they gaslit him. He should know this by now. That's what they do. They're professional delay artists, and they're risk adverse, and they're not going to do it. Prove me wrong. I hope you do. But I'm telling you, the likelihood that Congress is suddenly going to change course and do the MAGA agenda is almost zero. Now, a year is a very, very, very long time in politics, and Democrats could do something so crazy and so stupid, they could effectively make themselves unelectable, and that might help Republicans. But if you think about the three reasons why Democrats were able to buck the trend of history, buck the tide of history in 22, which a lot of people didn't realize before. If you think about, none of that has been fixed. And that, of course, is redistricting, the realignment, and whatever you want to call it, the relay race, to get out the vote. They outmaneuvered Republicans in all of them. Reapportionment was done with a flawed census. But in the redistricting efforts, which is a party thing that you can actually impact, Republicans got absolutely raffle stomped. They don't understand this. Democrats do. Democrats are killers. And so far, by the way, even with Texas, if this continues on this course, Democrats will have an even more advantageous map than they did in 22 going into 26. This is just the truth. And the realignment, Democrats, that's number two. The Democrats have managed to ball but complete their realignment. In fact, it's even more positive for them, because if Tuesday's results are any indicator, and it does look like, the turnout was sufficient enough for us to see that there was about a 70-30 turnout persuasion split with why some of these voters who just voted for Donald Trump either didn't show up, or if they did show up, voted for Democrats. That's disastrous for Republicans. So not only did they not hold those voters or zip them up, as Barnes was trying to explain on Monday, not only did they not do that, because none of these Hispanics, none of these younger voters, none of these newer demographics that we, first of all, were the only ones to identify going into 22. Let's not forget, let's not rewrite history. Everybody else who said that I was identifying these voting groups for Trump, everyone else who argued this, whether I was right or wrong, they all said it was a mirage. It wasn't true. I would be wrong. I wasn't wrong. It happened. And now we're talking to these same people. So I know what they're saying. And I'm telling you, they went back to the Democratic Party, many of them. And that isn't permanent. It doesn't have to be permanent. But for right now, it doesn't look like they will have the opportunity to earn those voters' trust back. And now we have Trump going absolutely off the rails. And anyone who pretends that he's not is lying to you.